G'day guys, so this is a video that I've been putting off forever, mainly because it got a bit too boring and mainstream. But I've been asked a lot to make a tutorial on that trapping boat that I put in the first video that I made. But the thing is, that boat was made when you couldn't see out the front of rafts. The viewing angle was just over the top of your head. So ever since they changed that viewing angle, I've been using a wedge-shaped design, such as this one. But in this video what I'm going to do is build off the motorboat, with the aim to make a boat as capable as possible to trap everything from dolphins to gigas. So get a pillar out and grab the rudder. Centre the pillar over that square at the front of the raft. Put a pillar half a square back. Demolish the front pillar. Pillar half a square forward, demolish the back pillar. And repeat, demolish the front pillar, half a square forward, demolish the back pillar. Then place a thatch foundation next to it. Place a thatch wall up off that foundation. Now off the corner of that wall, centre a ceiling. Now build a pillar down from the centre of that ceiling. We're doing all this to centre a 4x4 foundation instead of a 3x3 that we usually use. Now you can place a metal foundation next to that last pillar. And demolish everything else. So now we have a perfectly centered and correctly lowered start to a 4x4 foundation. But we still have to drop 2 more so we can access the rudder. So put a pillar in the foundation and lower one back from that. And to even it up, put another lowered one next to it. I'm hitting the RB button, the right bumper, to find them lower snap points. So you can now access the rudder from the lowered foundation. Now I'll extend this out to make a 4x4. First extend with thatch ceilings, making sure they're all the higher height. Sometimes it's easier to find from a different angle. Okay, so now lay your metal foundation underneath those thatch ceilings. Again, make sure they're all at that highest height. So yeah, this can be a nightmare sometimes. I usually have to press the right button and then the trigger immediately after to try and find that snap point. Slap a ramp in next to the rudder so you can get back up. Rudder off the other side. And now you can get rid of all that thatch. So now that you've got a 4x4, we need to extend the back out 3 more squares. So we'll have a 4x7. But for the extension we only need to make a ring. So we'll have a 2x2 gap in the centre. So like before, extend with thatch ceilings. You'll only get 2 in at one time. And place your metal foundation underneath. So once you've created the ring, get rid of all the thatch. And we've finished the foundation just as the fog rolls in. But as long as it's 4x7, you should be right. Right, so now what we've got to do is float some foundation underneath, which will hold the dino doors for an underwater pen. So we need 6 pillars, straight down. And then snap a thatched ceiling as far down as possible. Now what we're going to do is create a 4x4 ring of foundations underneath the other ones. So extend your thatched ceilings out. And snap your metal foundation underneath. Note that you have to start next to the pillar. Once you've got a start, you won't need that supporting structure anymore. So keep going until you've got that 4x4 ring. And get rid of your thatched ceilings. Get rid of the pillar. Foundations don't need support and they'll just stay there. Okay, so finally we've finished all the foundations. Now fill in those 2x2 gaps in the ring with giant hatch frames. Okay, so when they added the giant hatch frames to the game, they didn't really factor in how people are going to get up through them. If you just chuck a ladder down, you won't be able to climb up through it. So what I'm going to do is do some creative building to pull that ladder out from the edges so it'll work. So from the centre of the 2 foundations, place 4 pillars downwards. And snap a thatched ceiling as far down as you can. And extend that 2 more out. Now using a thatch wall, snap to that last ceiling. But before you place it down, press the Y button, which will flip it around so it's facing inwards. So it's facing the opposite direction, which it normally would. Now if you place the ceiling back from that, it'll be pulled out slightly. So place a ladder off the end of it. And you can see that's been pulled away from those foundations. But it'll still remain glued to them. So you can demolish everything else and it'll still stay there. And it's pulled far enough out that you'll be able to climb up and around that hatch frame. Okay, so now to lay the gates into the bottom pen. Now I am going to use fence foundations here to help line it up properly. You don't have to do that and it's better not to, but in the interest of keeping everything even, I'm going to use them here. Snapping dino gates together like this weakens the structure, because if you demolish the one it snapped to, that one gets demolished as well. But it is a lot easier to do and keeps it all square. I've used 2 fence foundations down the bottom to strengthen it up a bit so they don't all fall down if you destroy one. So once you've got all the gateways in, you can put the gates in. You'll note that I've got some opening outwards and some opening inwards. That's to help trapping and getting out, so it gives you that option. It's easier to trap with them opening inwards and easier to get out if they open outwards. Okay, so for the top dino gates we're going to do the same thing. Again, I'll use 2 fence foundations to help line it all up. If you think you're going to need more pieces free at the end, then don't bother with those and just eyeball it all. Now you can see why I used a 4x4 foundation, so we can make efficient use of the 2 square dino doors. Again, we've got some opening outwards and some opening inwards. Okay, so now that all the dino gates are in, we can make the ramp at the front. So angled walls on each side. Door frames where the ramps are. Once you got the sloped walls in, fill it in with sloped ceilings. Now you can start on the dividing wall inside. So a window frame on each side. And then build the wall up. To make this easier, I'm going to fill in the depression with more foundation, which I'll demolish later. Now the doors go on those temporary raised foundations, just to make it all look clean. We could have just built ceilings across as well. Demolish the foundations and the door frames will stay there, but at their correct height. And finish filling in the wall, windows and doors. The reason we've got two doors on each side is because when we knock something out, it may lay across one of the doors, and we still need that other door for access. Now for the ramps on the side, unlike what I'm doing here, I usually only use the metal underneath the door into the front cab. And make all the others wood. That's because we're saving those pieces and making them transferable, so we can remove the ramps and add ceilings to trap flying creatures. So we do need 8 pieces spare to fill in the roof if we want to catch an argy or a griffin, for example. Anyway, let's furnish it with everything we could possibly need, and probably things we won't. So put a smithy in, we always need a smithy. And plenty of room for a fabricator. This is a taming boat, so we'll put a fridge in for all the kibble and eggs and whatever. We'll need a generator to run all this. A cam bench, because, well, why not? We've gone through this much effort already. Never forget your bed, you'll be screwed if you do. I'll throw a keypad in to operate the auto turrets, to turn them on and off. And I'll put some catwalks out the side to hold these 2 auto turrets, just so people keep their distance when you're trying to tame something. Okay, so we've now maxed the boat out. No more pieces will fit. We've got a nice large ramp for drawing dinosaurs up, and a big pen at the back to catch them in, and likewise a large pen underneath to catch the dinosaurs under the water. And we've maintained good visibility at the front. Anyway, let's go see what we can do on a raft as opposed to a motorboat if we try and build 4 wide. So this is the same build but on a raft where you have less pieces. So there's no pen underneath. There's no windows to shoot through, and there's no ramps on the side except for those underneath the door. No ramps on the front either. Also no defences. So trying to build the same thing on a raft is rather compromised. Although it will trap, transport and unleash a wild giga if you really want a boat to do that. As shown at the start of the video, when building on a wood raft, I do a 3x6 foundation and build this boat here. The first three have the ramp, the back three have the pen. To trap the flies, just demolish the front ramps and build three ceilings down the centre, and that'll trap your argentavis and your griffins. And it has all the furniture you need. So this is a trapping boat I nearly use in every server. Pretty straightforward. Anyway, back to the motorboat build. Let's trap a Rex. Rexes are easy to trap in both this boat and the smaller one on the raft. So it's as simple as that. Then you can transport it anywhere to knock it out and tame it. Once you've tamed the Rex, since they can't walk through Dino doors anymore, what you do is stand on top of that giant hatch frame, look down, open it up, then walk the Rex down into it. Drive off and the Rex will be left on the beach. Spinos are quite hard to trap in the smaller wooden raft builds, but this motorboat build traps them really easily. Now to extract a tame Spino, open the door inwards. That'll act as a step, allowing to walk out the top. As simple as that. But with that in mind, don't leave that door open when trying to trap one. The big 4x4 pen will easily trap and hold a giga. The only hard part being keeping his rage while keeping your tame alive. So that allows you to trap and tame or transport a wild giga over to someone's base, particularly useful on PvE servers and on the no tame servers. Now to extract a giga, wild or tamed, swim underneath and open up the giant hat frame. It'll stand up on the edge of the door, which will allow him to walk out the front. So you can dump it right on someone's doorstep. Although you may need to sacrifice yourself to do so. Although he didn't want a piece of me this time. Now to trap the flies, what I've done is remove the ramps from the side and build a ceiling on the back, ended with 2 ramps. So 6 ceilings and 2 ramps to hold them in. Just don't try transporting while they're flying, or they'll just fly out the back. You have to knock them out first. Okay, to trap a shark, we have to use the bottom giant hatch frame. Just lead them straight up through the bottom. And close the hatch frame up on them. And you can knock them out through the top giant hatch frame. For the smaller swimmers, you can use the Dino gates on the side. Remember, I made some open inwards. They're the easier ones to use. So just get your manta or your dolphin, your eel to follow you in. Shut the door behind them and use the ladder to get out. And you'd have to wait for him to derage, put your bug repellent on and go and tame him. Anyway guys, that's a look at my trapping boats. If you wanted to trap water tames off a wooden raft, use the shark cage tutorial video. Anyway, it's been a bloody long video, so that's it.